Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the global live stream as of right now, it's still currently going on, I'm pretty sure. But we got the information for KANAE, of course. And yeah, it is looking AMAMIYA 2.0. No, I'm only kidding. But then again, she is the teacher, or like the master of to AMAMIYA, of course, so kind of makes sense. But anywho, just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on what we're working with now, since we've got a little bit of a confirmation. We don't know if this is going to be like a full-on 100%, because again, last-minute changes are a thing. But yeah, fire element, DPS, attack and assassin unit, basic attack just doing fire element damage, knockdown on the core. With the support skill, inflicts a percentage of the user's attack and then deals fire element damage, applies a knockdown, so she scales off from attack, go figure. And then with the QTE skill, again inflicts a certain percent of the user's attack, does element damage of fire, and then knocks down the enemy. So that's kind of like the basics on that one. In terms of her skills, so skill 1, Monochika, inflicts a percentage of the user's attack. This is what I love about this specific skill, is that KANAE uses a wires to pull herself towards adding momentum as she dices up the enemies with quick consecutive slashes. When the user is hit mid-air while using this skill, they automatically use extreme evasion. Now, I don't know if this is in the sense of having an extreme evasion at the ready, or having a dash at the ready, or if it would just like automatically just give you a free dash for you to then use the skill, right? Either or, safety precaution or a safety net for the skill, which is fabulous, so we'll take that. Skill 2, Kamaitachi, so inflicts a percentage of the user's attack. When the skill hits, it knocks down the target. This skill can be upgraded, different versions, depending on the current effect on KANAE. So Crimson Kamaitachi is 3-stage slash with bonus damage equal to a certain percent of the skill damage. Scarlet Kamaitachi, 3-stage slash with bonus damage equal to an increased percentage of skill damage. And then Fire Kamaitachi, 5-stage slash with additional bonus damage equal to an increased percent of the skill damage. So basically, with KANAE, which we knew of beforehand in terms of the foundation build of his character, is that she's highly on the offensiveness. The spammy skill is there, the build up to this character to do more damage is there, and now that they've added 3 stages, 5 stages onto these buffs, of course, for her to do more damage over time, getting obviously harder hitter, like building that up. Yeah, in terms of DPS fire element, this is definitely taking the cake. There's not really more to say other than the fact that in a longevity type of fight. Well, then again, her attack speed is going to be quietly high up there. So yeah, as long as you're on the offensiveness and you're keeping on board with that, the build up to this character is going to be ridiculous with the damage and what we can accomplish at the end of it all. So that's pretty much the second skill, and then the ultimate, Tsuchigumo, inflicts a percentage of the user's attack, deals fire element damage, and then knocks the enemy down. Alright, so this is pretty much the passive now. So when the user gains Crimson, so it's the first effect, when using Monochika, which is the first skill, and the Scarlet effect, when using their enhanced core attack. Crimson, when using Kamaitachi, the user automatically uses their enhanced core attack with bonus damage equal to a certain percent of the skill's damage dealt. Scarlet, when the user uses Kamaitachi, it activates the fire effect. Fire, the damage of Tsuchigumo increases by a certain percent. The user gains super armor while using Kamaitachi. Using Kamaitachi removes the Crimson, Scarlet, and fire effects. So there's a lot of combination, because of course you activate one thing, it then makes it so that it's enhanced and reactivates a second thing, and there's a lot of bouncing going on through her kit in terms of what you can use, what you can utilize, the combination, the attacks, and the consistency of just staying on that offensiveness. So that's the crazy thing about this character. Kind of a given knowing how AMAMIYA works, and this obviously KANAE being the teacher of all, it kind of makes sense on how she's working, hence why I say I'm really getting the AMAMIYA vibe from her. When the Crimson, Scarlet, and Fire effect are gained, the user's Kamaitachi becomes... when the Crimson, Scarlet, and Fire Kamaitachi effects are gained, the user's Kamaitachi skills become their ultimate skill. So the consistency throughout getting ultimates, I think by far KANAE has it won hands down in terms of being the #1 user for like ultimate skill consistency. So that's huge, and that's on the initial passive. The user's damage dealt to targets in break state increases by a certain percent. So again, this is something that we knew of already ahead of time. She is an absolute demon. Once that enemy's in that break state, let her fiend. Just let her fiend, go ham. So that's something beautiful to take note of. So going into the passives, when an enemy dies near the user or the user attacks a target in break state, the user gains the instinct effect. Instinct. The user's critical hit rate increases by a certain percent. When instinct has reached enough stacks, it becomes sixth sense. Sixth sense, the user's critical hit rate increases by a larger amount. If the user falls to a certain amount of MP, their MP consumption decreases. So if there's multiple grunts with the boss, I guess, or if there's like a wave situation, then fantastic. That's going to be helping us out in the crits department. And then buffing that up to sixth sense, and then obviously having that MP decrease consumption, so that way it kind of holds KANAE on just that little bit longer to do that little bit more damage, which is fantastic. But even in a boss situation, if there's at least breakage going on, then yeah, the only thing that I can see this kind of being a bit of a downfall is if you're going against a boss fight that has no grunts, that has no other enemies, and has no break bar, then this first skill low-key is a dud, if you really think about it. But yeah, other than that, just kind of pick the right situation, and this first skill will be a massive W. So moving along with the additional passives, or dupes, sorry. So at 2, the user's critical hit rate increases by a certain percent. A 3, the user gains the fire effect and resets the cooldown of fire Kamaitachi when using Tsushigomo. When using Monoshika, the user gains super armor for several seconds. Yeah, that's that cooldown that we spoke about through the ultimate. So that again, it's the consistency of the damage output that she could just dish out, having access to her skills just being available at the ready. So that's huge. And then a 4 to KANAE's fire damage increases by a certain percent for each member in the party. So again, Azel, Gina, KANAE is kind of like the team that a lot of people are going to be utilizing. And then to A5 her, yeah, the instincts and sixth sense effects are enhanced. So again, as I've mentioned, in terms of her dupes, it really is once again giving me that AMAMIYA vibe. Very, very similar on what's going on here, of course. I mean, truth be told, A3, just to get that cooldown so that you can keep up with that consistency, is kind of like, I would say, the sweet spot. So there's that. I mean, to be fair, again, it's like AMAMIYA 2.0, so like having everything at the ready, like A5 in her, you're just going to get the best out of her. So, but yeah, make sure you got that A3 so that way you can have that consistency of her skill usage through her ultimate, then going straight back into the swing of things. So that's something to take note. So yeah, she's looking very, very impressive with how she's going to be working. Oh, here's the code, by the way. So overall, I'm happy. I mean, at the end of the day, she's got no defense pen, so that's kind of interesting to see on the change up. But I mean, we can still kind of apply it on outside of her just having attack and crit, and that's what we're going to be catering to. In terms of, is she going to be worth the pull? I mean, there's no two ways to put it about it. I mean, it's going to be in a similar fashion of how AMAMIYA works, and we know how much of a great character she is in terms of being one of the best DPS in the goddamn game. And so for KANAE to come in, to have that form of consistency, to have that safety barrier on her first skill, the extreme evasion, to have similarities through the dupe passive, of course, she's definitely going to be up there. 100% worth the pull, in my opinion, to have the she's pretty much going to be regarded probably the best DPS for the fire element. Suyun is still going to hold it down in terms of having that range, having that defense penetration and whatnot, so that's still going to be feasible. But in terms of that high offensiveness, I think KANAE is definitely going to be taking the cake, especially having pretty much very, very similar to how AMAMIYA is working. So yeah, and again, that ultimate consistency through her initial passive, that it's there. But again, if your main concern is the workshop of Brilliant Light, I think Suyun can still hold it down. I mean, I've put my time and, you know, resources into my Suyun. Where she's at practically 50% defense pen. I've managed to apply that onto her. She's near enough at 300k power level. So, you know, if that's what you're thinking about, then Suyun can quite comfortably, should be able to, if you built her up correctly, do the job and get you the W. In terms of, you know, for future content and like the guild boss, etc., and all that good stuff, yeah, KANAE, I think she's taken the cake on that one. So in a specific scenario with the guild boss, you should be okay with the current DPS, but with the additional content and the future content and what's to come, I think KANAE will be the girl, which or the DPS fire element that a lot of people are going to be catering to. So yeah, it's a no-brainer to say that it is worth pulling for her. But the one thing that we've noticed with solo leveling Arise is that there's nothing limited. So if you want to resort to getting her at a later time through the custom draw banner, that is always an option. Because again, Go to Iruji is next. After Go to Iruji, we're one character off, and then it's the first year anniversary. So again, if you want to play it slow and steady, if you want to utilize your Shuyun, that is also a viable option. I'm just going to throw this in here because I thought this is kind of fairly interesting. So they've applied these materials now when it comes to getting our weapons to 120. I don't know if it caps at 120 or if that's, yeah, but either way, no. I'm not happy about. Oh, it is what it is. It's just more to do, I guess. And then these are the shadow echoes that we need to advance our shadows weapons. Again, the more dupes that you put onto the weapon, the higher percentages on what they can dish out in terms of like critical attack increase, defense pen increase, and whatnot. So, boys, 30k for one. Jesus.